Welcome to Ask A Celebrant, a conversational podcast answering your questions relating to all the commemoration and celebrations of all the chapters of your life. I'm Bernie B, full life celebrant.
And I'm Dinah Liversidge. Welcome, everyone. It's really fabulous to have you with us, as always, here on the Ask A Celebrant podcast. I'm Dinah Liversidge.
And I'm Bernie Benton.
It's really great to be here. We thought this month that we would talk about celebrations, specifically reasons to mark special events and to celebrate them, because we are celebrants. I guess the clue's kind of in the name, isn't it, Bernie?
Clues in the name, definitely.
So we talk a lot about some of the amazing reasons people ask us to help them mark occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And the wonderful thing really is that as independent celebrants, we can help people mark all kinds of events in their lives. It's not just birth, death, and marriage, which I think is what a lot of people associate with us, isn't it?
Yeah, I think traditionally people just think of the things that have sort of a historically have a legal connotation. I mean, obviously, you have to legally register death, but you don't have to legally be married, or you have to legally register a birth. But what we're saying, I think, as celebrants, is that we are here to bookmark and highlight and take those moments to celebrate those moments in throughout our lives, our journey, where we think, wow, look what we've achieved. Wow, look where we are. This is something I want tattooed in my brain, that I go, remember that day I did this, remember how we achieved that, And I think that you can take an event from just going out for dinner or having a party or sending a card and just make it that bit more special, involve a celebrant if you want, and have a full-on celebration with a certificate and fully take that time to appreciate where you're at, value your achievements.
I love that, Bernie. One of the things I think happens to a lot of us in current modern day society and life is that we do busy.
Yeah.
So we're constantly on the go. We're constantly having to work towards a goal or achieve the next thing or get through some massively long list of to-dos. Mm-hmm. And actually, the things that mark us out for being different, that are important, that should be acknowledged, just get caught up in all that busyness.
Yeah.
When we take a moment to do that thing we all say we want to do about being present,
yeah,
when we stop and we actually acknowledge, wow, look at this thing, look at how big that is, look at how hard we worked, then it takes on a whole new meaning, a whole new sense of achievement.
Yeah.
And also that thing that you and I talk about a lot, it allows us to express some gratitude.
Yeah.
And all of that is so good for your mental wellness.
Yes, it is good for your mental well-being. It really is. And your sense of self-worth and growth. So your well-being is hugely important because of it. But that kind of that gift you can give to the people that you are celebrating by taking that moment, because you can create a celebration not just for you and what you've achieved, but you can say, hey, let's have a moment to celebrate what you have achieved. I want to acknowledge your achievement that has impacted my life.
That's beautiful. One of the things that comes instantly to mind as you say that is you think of all the young people, and of course some mature students too, who over the last few weeks as we're recording this have been getting exam results.
Yes.
And I think it instantly took me back to being that age and how afraid we were and how much we thought hung on those results. Quite often we had completely over exaggerated that in our heads. But at that moment it felt enormous.
It's everything at the time.
At the time, isn't it? And I looked at the families who were saying on their posts on social media, hugely proud of, and then mentioning a young person. And the following day, they're then posting, we're visiting university today. He or she or they are
Yeah.
signing up to. And I
Yeah.
thought, hold on a minute, hang on. You've had one day of woohoo, look what we achieved. And now we're on to the next chapter.
Yeah, well, not
Right?
even a whole day usually because the
Yeah.
posters come late. They've got all stressed. They've had a few tears. They've had a bit of a meltdown. They've got the results, or not because there was a big
Yeah.
mix up, if I remember rightly. And then they have to go into the clearing and whatever. And even if they haven't got the grades they wanted, they have achieved that goal. They have finished that phase in their life. That chapter is over,
Yeah.
however the results are, and now they are going to move to a next chapter. And we should celebrate and recognize that because whatever the results were, they worked damn hard under really adverse conditions in the last few years, actually, extra hard, both physically, mentally, emotionally, they had to overcome all sorts of pressures that should never be put on people of that age anyway. And their families who had to support that and offer that have been amazing too. So as a family, you go to your children, you are amazing. You have done this in those circumstances. We have supported you through that. And we want to celebrate that. Let us, okay, we've got to go do those other things, but let us just make, as I said to you, as a description, tattoo that achievement into our brains so that we can call on it whenever we're self-doubting. That's another success. Tick.
Huge, huge. And there are so many, aren't there? One
Uh-huh.
of the things Bernie and I would love your help with, if you're listening to us today,
Mm-hmm.
is we want to put together a list that reminds all of us that we have so many things that we could celebrate in our lives. We're really almost persuaded against marking and acknowledging moments because there's always that next thing. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to create a list of 101 things to celebrate. And we'd love you to come up with some for us. It's about taking that pause, creating a memory that you can always go back to and saying, do you remember when? And I know that there are things that we've done over the years that as soon as that thought comes to mind, my mood improves, my sense of happiness and joy and connection and family are all strengthened. And
Yeah.
don't get us wrong, folks, this isn't us bidding for business, although of course we love helping people mark things and celebrate things. This is about saying life sucks a bit at the moment for a lot of us. A lot of people are struggling with things that they shouldn't have to struggle with.
Yeah.
It's been a really, really hard few years, and with the media painting the kind of negative long dark tunnel, it's
Yeah.
hard to see the light.
Yeah.
So let's acknowledge them. Let's see those moments that we can say,
Yeah.
in all this nasty, there's that bit of joy.
Yeah. So we're not just talking about the ones where you would hire in a celebrant, although if you want to make it that big and hire in a celebrant, great. We're talking about all those moments on your journey through your life that are worth the pause and the celebration. And let's make the list. And then you can go, look, another one on my list. I've done it. I've done it. I've celebrated that. I've acknowledged that. That's there. I mean, they can be small things. They can be big things. Your results. You're moving out of home for the first time, or from the parents' point of view, coping with being an empty nester. Woohoo! That's a hard one, wasn't it? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, very. I mean, that was hilarious. I remember distinctly our daughter Hannah leaving home for the last month before she left home, and she reminds me of this occasionally. I was walking around the house humming, slipping through my fingers and
Oh,
crying a lot, and her dad was counting down the days till Naked Saturdays. And then we moved to
it's on the
Wales. I
calendar.
was like, seriously, Naked Saturdays in Wales where it's rainy and cold and wet? But I just thought that was so typical and so fabulous that the two of us saw it from these entirely different perspectives. Of course, he missed her desperately and still
Of
does, I have
course.
to say, many,
But
many
he took a
years later.
positive spin on it. He
Yes,
did.
exactly.
He did.
And actually, he helped me to understand that yes,
Yeah.
it's sad and it's wonderful because look
Wonderful.
what we
We spend
did.
all our lives, don't we, raising our children, and and certainly for you and I, our measure of success is they can survive happily on their own without us.
Yeah,
We teach them to cook, we teach them to budget, we teach them to have independent thought, we teach them that they are loved. All of the things we teach them, and we watch them go out in the world, and yes, we miss them desperately, but that's the point of us, isn't it, as parents? So yay us, let's celebrate that. What a great
yeah,
job we did.
totally,
Put it on the
totally.
list.
I love that. And then, you said it's also about the little things, they don't have to be huge.
Yeah,
One of the things I love being asked to help people celebrate is when they do come through something huge.
yeah,
So people often think that a vow renewal ceremony is done to mark a, silver wedding anniversary or a golden wedding anniversary
yeah,
or the anniversary of meeting. Often
yeah,
couples who haven't had a legal marriage have been together a long time and
yeah.
want to mark that. But
Hmm.
I've been lucky enough, and I know a lot of celebrants who have done vow renewals for very different reasons.
Uh-huh.
It can be, you know what, we had a real big hiccup and we
Yeah.
pulled together and we talked it through and we got the help and we are beginning a new chapter and we want to recommit. And that
Hmm.
is profoundly beautiful. Recently, I was lucky enough to do a vow renewal for a couple where cancer had been,
Sorry, excuse
frankly,
me.
the biggest part
Yeah.
of their life for the last 4 years.
Hmm.
And now suddenly they see a future they really didn't think they had.
Oh, what a wonderful thing. What an
What a
honor for
thing.
you to be able to be
Yeah.
part of that.
Wow.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think a single one of us had a dry eye. I mean, it was just
No.
tears and laughter mixed in from beginning to end. And
Yeah.
glorious. What a thing to celebrate.
Yeah. And survival can be something that you can celebrate without a vow renewal. Just getting that all clear from your cancer treatment, getting that and for the first time, being signed off from your treatment after the checks that they have, and having those reduced. What a great thing, to have that. What a relief in your life. What a moment to go. That day I'm going to remember for the rest of my life as a really positive day.
Yeah, totally. I coach as well as being a celebrant. And
Hmm.
one of the things I really encourage people to do is to create what I call a gratitude jar.
Yeah.
So find a big old pickling jar or a lovely Kilner style of jar,
Got one on my windowsill.
gorgeous. And then get some scraps of coloured paper,
Yeah.
keep
Hmm.
them with or near the jar with a pen,
Yep.
and notice things that you have in your day that are worth saying, wow, I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
The
They
first
can be
one will
little
be,
things.
oh, they can be
They can,
tiny.
yeah, yeah. Just things like you having just a little moment and someone goes, "Oh, come here," and notices, gives you a hug, or picks up the phone to you or something like that. You know.
Absolutely. One of the ones I put in recently, talking again about being a mum, was Hannah phoned me to ask my advice on something.
Yeah.
When your kids are in their 30s and they're still doing that, that's special. You know you
Oh,
did
I love
okay.
it.
And that I wrote on one of my little things. H called and asked for my advice, and I put the date
Yeah.
and just a big
Yeah.
smiley face.
Exactly.
Total top up of my gratitude and my happiness, and nothing in the news that day
Yeah.
will I remember, but I will remember that moment.
Yeah.
And I think when we do that, we switch our focus and we
Yeah.
start to notice more. Do you know what? I do have things that I would love to
Yeah.
celebrate and acknowledge. I
Yeah,
have I have a friend who,
it's the cans instead of can'ts, and the have instead of have not,
yeah,
and the want instead of should, and all of those things, isn't it? It's swift switching your language, switching your focus, finding the positive, you know, if you can find a positive moment in a day, I mean, we've moved on and we're talking about the small gratitudes, but they are as important as the big ones for our mental health and well-being. And as celebrants, like we said at the beginning, we're not here trying to pitch ourselves to get some business, although you're very welcome to every time you get a happy phone call calling a
Yay,
celebrant.
that'd be lovely.
Just a resident celebrant in your house.
Yeah, let's acknowledge and celebrate this moment, please. Do you know, one of my favorite ways of acknowledging the little things came from this really great coach and trainer called Natalie Rivera. And she says, don't make a to-do list, make a ta-da list. So that every
Oh my God,
time you
that's
finish something
wonderful.
and tick it, you can go, ta-da! And I do that now. And I think that's wonderful. And it's a great, great example of what you were saying about just a fine shift in our language. And
Yeah,
suddenly we notice these things. We do
yeah,
have things worth celebrating.
yeah,
So this
for
list of
sure.
101 things,
Mhm.
I think perhaps what we'd love is for people to give us ideas, but also perhaps we could ask you, share with us, what have you most recently celebrated?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear some of them because people do have great family traditions or
Hmm.
couple traditions that they started themselves as something they celebrate. And it could be that another couple or family out there would really benefit from having something like that for them. So I'd love you to share those too.
Yeah. Yeah. So our challenge is, come to us and just give us one of your little celebrations. Doesn't matter how tiny. I mean, we've talked about vows and graduations and passing your driving test, getting the keys to your first home. You know, yeah, buying. One of my favorite moments was, and I'm sure my son and I know my partner really remember it, the first time that our son took us out and he paid for a round of drinks.
Mega moment, right?
He was so proud. We were so happy. It was just the loveliest thing because, that whole, that mark of independence, that sign that he was grown up enough to buy a round of drinks legally, and
Yeah, and
pay for it. It
also
was just
earning
lovely.
money that meant he had
Earning money. Yeah.
available cash. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
big deal. That's
Yeah.
such a landmark, isn't it, in our
Yeah.
lives?
So yeah, we're not just talking about the ones where you want to call one of us in. We're talking about anything that where you take a breath or you feel that it's worth other people recognizing that it's an achievement and taking a breath and marking that moment, writing it down and putting it in the gratitude jar. If we can think of 101 of those and we can create that list and we can keep adding to it. If we get over 101, that's great. We can keep adding to it and we can share it with everybody, couldn't we?
Absolutely. I think this is also about switching the way we think about certain things.
Mm,
There is this sense, particularly with things like when we set a goal, once you have achieved it, almost immediately people say, what's next? What's the next
yeah,
thing? You almost get to that thing. It's like your to-do list, isn't it? You tick one
yeah,
off, you now have to do the next one.
yeah,
So to
yeah.
actually take a moment and pause is incredibly good for you.
Hmm.
It's also, if you're owning a business or you're running something where you're trying to make a profit or be successful, to take a moment of reflection is really
Yeah,
important. And so if we
yeah,
do that more in our lives and
yeah,
think, hang on, look what we just achieved as a family. We came through this awful COVID
yeah.
nightmare, which totally turned everybody's lives upside down.
Hmm.
Somehow our kids, these incredible small humans, pulled it together and got through their exams. We
Yeah,
we we did something remarkable that we did
yeah.
not know we were capable of. What did we
Love the
do?
neighbours you connected with, because
Yeah,
which you may never have connected with had that not that horrific thing happened. But suddenly you became an integral part in the community shopping, or you started phoning your mum every day, whereas you only spoke to her once a month because you thought you had all the time in the world. So that's kind of built that growth. These are positivity the positive in the out of the negative. And because like you were saying about ticking off the list, what we're always doing by ticking off the list is always looking at what's left to do. Whereas if we look at all the ticks and flick back in our diary, we look at all the things we have successfully done.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
that
love that.
that feeds, that's like food for our soul and our drive and our energy. We think, okay, yes, there's still to do, but look, I have achieved all of these things already. Already, I've done that.
Yeah,
And I had this morning. I was feeling very down, feeling very tired. I was feeling quite overwhelmed, and I forgot for a moment I forgot to remember what I had done and achieved that led me to feeling tired and overwhelmed today. So fortunately, as always is a good thing, I spoke to you and you reminded me of what led me to being so tired today. And now I'm thinking, wow, look what I did last week.
yeah,
Look what I achieved last week.
yeah.
Okay, I'm tired today, but look, and I was tired before I did that, and I won't be tired tomorrow if I get a bit of a breath, and I'm ready to do it again. But wow, and my mindset has completely changed. And it is just those moments, isn't it?
It is. And if anybody's thinking we've gone off topic, this is entirely the point of this topic.
Yeah,
We need to notice. We need so much to feed our souls, our families, our friends with noticing what we have achieved, not what we have still got to do all
yeah,
the time. This whole we've got to get back to normal is feeding that, oh my goodness, we've got to get back on the treadmill. We've got to spend £10
yeah,
on coffee we
yeah.
don't
And
drink
you're
every
failed. You're
day.
not
And
yet back to normal.
well,
You're not
exactly,
there yet. Not, oh
which
my
is,
God.
honestly, if people could just take a moment to remember what normal was really like, it's the last thing they'd want to return to. So celebrate having got out of that nonsense, being
Yeah,
brave enough to say, no, I'm not returning to it. Being
yeah,
different and challenging the normal is
yeah,
part of noticing what's
yeah,
amazing in our lives.
yeah,
I love that yesterday afternoon I could go and have coffee with a friend. I
yeah.
spent time with Amanda, which you and I both know is just always so
Oh
good.
God, that's food for the soul, isn't it? Always.
Oh, always. And I come home refreshed and fulfilled and grateful. And
Hmm.
I had been so tired and just like you, thinking, oh my goodness, how do I get myself this exhausted? And 10 minutes with a friend reminds you, and just, it's that whole fill your own bucket, and then you can
Yeah.
carry on filling other people's.
Mm.
So taking a moment to say with your friends or your partner or your family, hey, what can we celebrate about this month? What was
Yeah.
amazing for us? What were the little wins and what were the big wins?
Yeah.
Is wonderful. It's almost a family journal in a way that says,
Mm.
looking back over the last year or two, look at the things we achieved together.
Yeah.
Aren't
Yeah.
we remarkable?
And doing it on behalf of someone when if you see a neighbor, a friend, a family member, you just pointing out to them what you think is great about what they have done recently. Remind them because we're all really good at supporting other people, and we're all also really good at berating ourselves.
Oh
So
yeah,
let's be the advocate for each other. Let's do
I
that.
love that. There's that beautiful expression. I can't remember where I first saw it, so forgive me for not giving credit. But there was this beautiful quote that said, be the woman that fixes another woman's crown without ever telling her it was crooked. I think that's a magnificent
Oh,
way to look at life. I just think that's beautiful.
yeah,
And actually, on that same note of saying to somebody, I see you, I
yeah,
see what you did, I see the difference you make, I want to celebrate you, is
yeah.
beautiful.
Mm,
Um, I see you, Bernie. I see the amazing things you do and the way you care about your community, and
mm,
particularly those people in your community who are vulnerable. And I
mm.
would love to celebrate that. You know, thank you
Oh,
for doing what you do. It matters so much, and you never seek recognition for it. You just do it because it's who you are. So thank you.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. You're so amazing. I'm always in awe when you say I'm doing something amazing
No,
because
you're. Oh,
your strength and energy and knowledge, um your ability to remember the little details that people have said and remind them of them, those moments, is such a gift. It's such a gift that when you do that, and you do that to me a lot, and it changes my perception of my day instantly. I go from can't to can, you know, failed to achieved, you know, within a flick of the fingers, just because you have reminded me of something I've said, or you just the way you word something. So I am grateful for you too. And I think, yeah, go away and find your friend or a relative and remind them and tell them what you're grateful for today, because we all as individuals are so busy, we're noticing the things that we perceive as weaknesses and failures, that we
yeah,
forget to notice, or struggle to notice our values.
we really do. And taking it that step further and celebrating, actually taking a moment to say, wow, look, isn't this
Yeah,
special? However, that
yeah,
feels authentic. You know, there are so many possible ways to do this. And again, tell us what you do. How did you
yeah,
celebrate? What was it that you as a family or as a person or as a couple said, hey, you know how we could mark this occasion? Because there are some
yeah,
beautifully creative ways to notice and
yeah.
celebrate things.
Oh, Dinah, I'm really looking forward to hearing people's stories and wins and celebrations.
Oh, me
And we'll
too.
gather them all together anonymously, and we'll just put all of those together and make a really positive list of things for people that we can all draw some energy from. And I
Yummy.
know this doesn't sound like a celebrant conversation that we're having today in Ask a Celebrant, but I think, the role of us, celebrating, as you said at the beginning, the clues in the name. I think, it's not all about us and our work, it's about our attitude to life as a whole. We celebrate full life from beginning to end and all of those moments in between. So let's just take that time, um, after you've heard this, to do that for a moment, and we'll pull it all together and give you some sort of little reminders, little nudges every now and again, that these are big achievements in your lives.
Thank you, Bernie. I think that's a beautiful note to end on. Thank you
Mm,
all for joining us today. We
thank you
are
very much.
very excited to hear from you, and take a look in the notes on the podcast. It will tell you where you can send us your comments. Speak to you soon.
Excellent. Bye for now.
Ask a Celebrant is unscripted, and we base it on the questions we receive from our clients and you, our listeners. We'd love to hear from you. Do join the conversation.
See you next month.